It was a wild Gator Bowl, well, really a wild fourth quarter after what was kind of a boring first half or even first three quarters to the Gator Bowl. But with 42 points scored in the fourth quarter, 5 turnovers in that quarter, it was a really fun finish. And in the end, Clemson extends their win streak to 5 games. They finished 9-4, which obviously is really far short of initial expectations. A lot of fans thinking 12-0, 11-1, maybe not a championship, but at least an ACC championship. There's a lot of confidence they were going to be better than Florida State, or at least beat them since they had them at home. So no doubt still a disappointing season, but you feel really great about the way it ended. So I wanted to dig into it and try to understand, how do they turn it around so much? So I looked at a couple things, and here's sort of what I've learned. I uncovered some interesting stuff here, and I wanted to share it. So, you look at a couple different things that changed. Obviously, you got to look at the schedule. Was it just easier opponents? And there is an element of that is certainly fair. I mean, Florida State being the best opponent they faced all year, NC State being a 9-win opponent, Duke, Miami. Duke, Miami, are they great teams though? And you look at the teams they beat in the streak, it included Notre Dame. Maybe they're not as good as Florida State, but they finished 10-3. North Carolina, they might not be as good as NC State, but it's really on the margins. And then Kentucky and Georgia Tech, winning teams, 7-6 teams. So perhaps the schedule eased up a little, but I don't think that's a main reason why they went from 4-4 to 5-0, right? And what flipped, right? I don't think it's that. I think Phil Maffa getting a lot more carries was a part of it. I don't think it was the main reason though, but I definitely think that giving your best skill position player the ball more, and for him especially in the goal line and in the red zone, I think helped a lot, helped them improve at the goal line where they had so many problems. So I do think that's a fairly big part of it, but still not the biggest. What seemed like the obvious answer, what I expected the answer to be coming into sort of analyze a couple different things, surely it's they quit committing so many darn turnovers. So I did some analysis and I looked, and they committed 22 turnovers on the year, which is a good bit. And they were committing almost 2 per game through those first 8 games, 1.88 turnovers lost per game through their first 8. Pretty, not great, but not as terrible as I expected. And then when you look at the turnovers committed or turnovers lost over the last 5 games, it's better, but it's just short of half a turnover fewer per game. So yeah, that definitely helped. And I think, the catastrophic nature of the turnovers got better, but not nearly to the extent you would have expected. I mean, even if just at the Gator Bowl, Clemson had a big turnover in their favor and they had the ball in the red zone. The very next play, Kate Glubnik is hit and throws an interception in the end zone. I mean, that's pretty catastrophic. So that really wasn't the answer. But when you look at one column over turnovers gained, the answer is very obvious. Clemson went from getting only 1.5 turnovers per game and losing the turnover margin by 0.38 turnovers per game to a ridiculous 3.2 turnovers gained per game. So they're getting more than 3 interceptions or fumbles, whatever it may be, and winning the turnover margin by nearly 2 per game. The only teams they beat on the entire season, while not getting 3 or more turnovers, the only teams they beat with 2 or less turnovers gained were Wake Forest and Charleston Southern. So they became reliant on getting turnovers. It's crazy to think, and I'm looking at my other screen here to see some of these numbers, but against Notre Dame, there was 3 turnovers that they gained, including a pick 6 by Jeremiah Trotter. Against North Carolina, there was 3 turnovers gained, including Nate Wiggins' excellent rundown of Marion Hampton, which he punched the ball out and caused a touchback. So huge play there, 14, well, at least a 7-point swing, and just on one play right there. And then Kentucky, there was 4 turnovers happening all kind of at the end of the game. Obviously huge, and Clemson doesn't win without them. So what do we make of all of that? Well, Clemson finished with 28 turnovers gained on the season, which is number 1 in the country. And, Liberty still has a game to play. So maybe they could catch up and pass them. But as of this recording, it's number 1 nationally, tied with Cal and Bowling Green. So they got a lot of turnovers. Can you expect that to keep up? Well, they They did get 4 with kind of a new look defense with, all their stars in the secondary gone. And Barrett Carter seemed like he's going to play with like a, just a first round kind of talent. Something clicked when he realized he didn't have the season he needed to be a first rounder. And boy, did he look like a first rounder in that Gator Bowl. So maybe they can't keep it up, but statistically it would be highly unusual to lead the country in turnovers gained twice in a row. There is a luck factor. And again, defense gets pressure and has to come up with turnovers and fumbles. And they did a great job of that. Certainly earned it. But there is a luck factor in turnovers. You'd expect that to even out. As I look back on the season, you would have rather it been a little bit more even, right? You would have rather not lost to Florida State because they committed no turnovers while your only turnover was the fumble, scoop, and score. You would have rather not lost to Duke, even if that means maybe you don't beat North Carolina or Notre Dame, right? It was just so strange how it split. First half, Clemson could not get any luck their way. And second half, they got all the bounces. Next year, you'll see that even out. So I don't think you look at the 5-game win streak and think Clemson's rolling to national championship next year with no other improvements. But I think at the end of the Gator Bowl, you saw something. The wide receivers just have not been explosive. And frankly, we're kind of disappointing, and we're making me feel pessimistic about that game and the final drive and then the future, right, next year. But they put Antonio Williams on the field, and he was limited because he was just coming back from injury, so he didn't play as much. But they put him on the field in that last game-winning drive. He had a 16-yard catch, an 11-yard catch. You could see his speed and agility, and you could see the difference it makes in that offense. And him and Brenningstool were awesome, and Cade Klubnik was decisive. For much of the game, he was just a tick slow, just a little bit late. Ball's coming a little bit high, not off by much, not making dumb plays, but just not quite there. And on that last drive, he looked like a leader. He was decisive, and he had receivers who were getting open for him. Now you take that into next year, you're okay with the turnover luck evening out. You probably won't be as unlucky as you were in the first half of the season. Probably won't be as lucky as you were in the end. The offense is going to have to get better, though. And fortunately, we saw some of that in that final drive. So that's encouraging. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you found that interesting. Give me your thoughts on Clemson's turnover luck and how it flipped. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is there something I'm missing? Obviously, red zone played a big role. I think that's where Phil Maffa came in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It really helps out. And please like this video. Also, don't forget there is an option to support this channel with the new super like feature that they added, or the super thanks, feature they added to the channel. Thanks again for everyone who's following. We're almost at 1,000, so I appreciate that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Gator Bowl. And I almost forgot. I want to talk about Clemson basketball real quick. So bear with me through that. Clemson just completely demolished a decent Radford team. It was really impressive. The offense just couldn't be stopped. I'm going to pull up the score here. It was 93-58. And what was most encouraging to me was Chase Hunter looked back to his normal self. He had 16 points and he looked sharp again. And that's key because they have enough depth. They were able to manage and get through kind of these last, was it 5 games? 5 games, 1, 2, 3. 5 games where he kind of struggled. If he plays better, they probably beat Memphis. But with him back or playing back at his normal level, you feel much better entering this really tough stretch in the ACC. The ACC has improved this year. Clemson goes on the road to Miami on Wednesday, January 3rd. They come back home for Saturday. Should be a huge game with North Carolina. 2 teams that very much could be favorites to win the ACC. I think the winner of that game, you start thinking maybe they're the best team in the ACC. North Carolina's been very good this year. And then they go on the road again to Virginia Tech. So really tough stretch to open the year, but I don't know that it's any tougher than Alabama, Pittsburgh, South Carolina, TCU, Memphis. That may be one of the toughest stretches of the year, at least until later. Looks like in February they go Virginia, at North Carolina, at Syracuse, Miami, NC State. That'll be a tough stretch. But Clemson's gone through some tough games. They've went through the rigor here. They have not scheduled a soft non-con, so they are definitely deserving of your attention. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Again, please subscribe and like this video. It really helps me grow. Thanks for watching, and go Tigers.